Hey millionaire, you know I love the idea of becoming a millionaire. That's what we're all here for. And of course, winning the lottery is the easiest way to do that. But that doesn't mean it's the only way. We all want to do it the easy way, but some people play the lottery because they don't think that there's any other option. But really, if you look at all the facts, you'll see that there's no reason to believe you can't become a millionaire just by working hard and smart. I've gathered together some facts about real millionaires that most people have never heard. If you're thinking you'll have to scrape your coins together for the rest of your life if you don't win the lottery, these facts will prove you wrong. You're capable of achieving more than you realize. Just listen to this. Number 10. You don't need a rich family. You already know the first thing everyone mentions when they're explaining why they'll never be a millionaire: the rich family. Most people believe that only people from rich families become millionaires. But did you know that's not true? Sure, I'll bet it's much easier to get rich if your family can give you limitless cash to start a business, or if you've entered your adult life with a huge trust fund. But in reality, only 20% of millionaires inherited their wealth. According to the book, The Millionaire Next Door, the other 80% of millionaires created their wealth all on their own. I guess that's why so many rich people talk about being self-made. Number 9. There are more millionaires than you think. If you think that millionaires are a super rare breed, you're wrong. You might think you have more of a chance of being struck by lightning than becoming a millionaire. But actually, the odds are in your favor. Statistics show that 1 in every 854 people are millionaires. In other words, you're actually more likely to become a millionaire than you are to win the lottery. Whoever saw that coming? Definitely not me. So if millionaires aren't as rare as you thought, why wouldn't you be able to become one too? Number 8. Don't wait for someone else to give you the opportunity. Okay, so you might need some help, but you definitely don't need to wait for someone else to help you become a millionaire. You probably think most millionaires get their way because they were promoted to the top of the right company. But actually, half of millionaires are self-employed. This goes back to the concept of being self-made. It turns out that most millionaires are starting small businesses, learning stock trading, or even selling themselves the right way to make their fortune. They didn't wait around for a promotion or a raise. They just went out there and did something to gain their wealth. Are you self-employed? Tell us in the comments and keep watching. Fact number 1 is gonna blow your mind. Number 7. Hard work will get you far. If you think most millionaires are sitting on the beach or on their private islands being served exotic cocktails all day, you're wrong. Only 20% of all the millionaires in the world are retired. The other 80%, they're working, and they work hard. Sure, most of them probably have the funds to retire, but the more you work, the more money you earn. I'll bet it's pretty hard to stop once you see all that cash flowing into your account. Number 6. You can't just stick to one thing. I'll bet you've been planning your amazing new business since we mentioned most millionaires are self-employed, but don't get too caught up in your grand plan. I'm not only saying that because you invented it a few seconds ago. There's a bigger reason. Most millionaires don't just stick to one idea. In reality, they have their hands in many, many cookie jars, much more than you'd expect. The average millionaire dabbles in about 17 different potential moneymakers. Whether it's a business, an enterprise, a deal, or a concept, they're dipping in and out of them all the time. That's a lot, right? It's no wonder they have so much cash if they're involved in all those things, right? Wrong. Most of them never make much money at all. On average, millionaires only hit it big on the 18th try. But that teaches us one big lesson. If most millionaires failed 17 times before hitting it big, the trick is probably not giving up. Number 5. It's not all plain sailing. Imagine you've grown a huge fortune. Congratulations, that must have been hard work, especially if you've had to try out 17 different money-making schemes before you earned $1 million. What happens if you wake up in the morning and it's all gone? After all, it happens. All you need is for one of those things to go wrong. Does that mean you failed? Absolutely not. Amazingly, statistics show that the average millionaire will go bankrupt 3.5 times. That's a pretty shocking statistic, right? That doesn't mean that you should be filing for bankruptcy over and over in the hopes you'll suddenly get rich. But it does go to show that failing isn't always as bad as it seems. Most millionaires use that kind of failure to learn what to avoid next time, and then they bounce back even stronger. It turns out that millionaires use failures as lessons all the time, so maybe you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. Number 4. What the average millionaire really looks like. Remember how we said millionaires usually try out loads of businesses and go broke several times before finally making their fortune? You can do all that in just a year or two. Because of all that, the average millionaire probably doesn't look like you imagined. Most of them are actually 61 years old, with an average of 3.5 million. If that's not what you were picturing, you might need to change your view of what millionaires are really like. What did you think the average millionaire looked like? Did we surprise you? Tell us in the comments and keep watching for the shocking fact at number 1. Number 3. Don't mention your age. Okay, so what if you're not happy about waiting until you're 61 to become a millionaire? That's alright, because you'll only get your millions by working right now. But have you been beating yourself up about not making a million by the age of 25, or 30, or even 40? Sure, it would be great to make loads of cash at a young age, and some people do. There seem to be loads of young influencers, tech whizzes, and innovators out there who make millions or even billions by their 20s. Some of them aren't even out of high school when they make their first million. It can be discouraging for sure, but it's definitely not the norm. But what is the normal age for hitting your first million? Most of them only made their first million at the age of 54. Statistics show that most millionaires only hit on their dream business at around 45 years old. That statistic also teaches us something very important. You might be able to celebrate your 30th birthday, but that definitely doesn't mean you've missed your chance to become a millionaire. We need to forget about using our age as a marker of success, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be trying hard right now. Number 2. Is it really harder these days? This is another thing people like to mention when they're talking about never getting rich. Those people will tell you that it's much harder to make money these days, so there's no hope of becoming a millionaire. But the stats tell a very different story. Let's use America as an example. In the year 1900, there were just 5,000 millionaires in the US. So how does that compare to today? Well, it doesn't look good for the 1900s. The year 2000 was much wealthier, with an incredible 5 million millionaires. That's a huge jump, right? A 10,000% increase in millionaires in just one country proves that it's just as easy, if not easier, to make a million these days. If you're one of those people who thinks there aren't as many opportunities anymore, you might need to rethink. There are loads of things you can do to make a million. You might just need to look through more positive eyes. And finally, the most surprising fact of all is number 1. A new millionaire is made more often than you'd think. If I still haven't convinced you that becoming a millionaire is totally possible, then I have one more fact for you. People make their first million way more often than you think. Okay, so it's not quite so fast that you can count down to it, but it's much faster than you're thinking. One new millionaire is actually created every 58 hours. Can you believe that? That's less than 3 days. So, if someone out there will become a new millionaire 3 days from now, why shouldn't it be you? You might just be closer than you think.